everybody. This is Jacob from Wager Me This. This is Lay the Points, episode number 7. Yesterday was a swing and a miss. Baltimore tried to do their part of it, but Angels just did not do anything, basically. It wasn't that there wasn't chances. There was chances. Bases loaded, different times. There was runners. Obviously you have the home run possibility. Just wasn't to be. Moving on. We don't stick on one bet. If it loses, it loses. It's part of the game. It's part of what goes on here. So we're not worried about it. Just move on. Second thing I want to talk about today is last night we saw the Heat do Heat things and cause a lot of problems for Boston down the stretch. And even though Boston took that big lead, the Heat had a fourth quarter or a third quarter, that had 46 points. That's what the Heat can do to you. The Heat can just really make your life really, really crappy, really quick. And Jimmy Butler did Jimmy Butler things. Jimmy Butler does Jimmy Butler things. He's playoff Jimmy for a reason, making tip-in and ones. And what it boils down to, guys, is that Miami is the tougher team, I think. I think it boils down to that they're the tougher team, and they want it more. I think Boston thinks that they're just better, so they're going to win. More talented, so they're going to win. But that's not the case. Most of the time, it's who has the most effort, who wants to play defense the hardest. A lot of those things. It's oftentimes not just who's the best player. Because if that was the case, guys like LeBron James and stuff would win every time, and they don't. Because basketball is still a team sport, and you have to win as a team. That's why guys like Jimmy Butler can thrive in the playoffs, because they play as a team, and they want the team success. Not that LeBron doesn't. LeBron does also. But guys like Tatum's not a great team player. He's more about him. He kind of disappeared down the stretch. The coach I think the Boston coach kind of had Miami a little bit twisted. I think he kind of thought that once they got that lead, they would run them over. Miami didn't think that, so Miami came back. That was plus 300 if you took Miami on the money line, or 8.5 points. I actually had the people that purchased from me on the 8 points. I didn't have the plus 300. I got a little chickened out on it, but it was there. And everything said take it. Everything said that Miami would win the first game. And I just got scared of it a little bit. So, but the 8 was very appealing, so I did get on it. And that obviously you didn't have to have the points. So, moving on, we got another Western Conference game tonight. Let's talk about that a little bit, guys. If the Lakers do not win, this series is over. Likely this series is over anyway. Because at this point right now, the Los Angeles Lakers have to win 4 out of the next 6 games to beat the Nuggets. That game one matters so much in best of sevens, because then the other team has to win 75% of the games from there on out. Likely, the Lakers are done, but if they lose tonight, if the Lakers lose tonight's game, they are absolutely done. They're not coming back and winning 4 out of the next 5 games. They're just not doing it. They don't. One of the things that the Nuggets do that the Lakers don't really want them to do is the Nuggets get up and down the floor and they score a lot of points. And the Lakers want to play the game down at 105 to 102, and the Nuggets want to play in the 120s. And that's not built for the Lakers to win. It's a bad matchup for the Lakers. It really is. Think about it, guys. Yesterday, or whenever that game was played, AD had 40, LeBron had 28, Austin Reeves had 23, and Hachimura had 17, and they still lost by 6. And that's because the guard play on the other side was stellar. It was awesome. Murray had 31, Pope had 21, and Brown came in and chipped in 16. So, along with Jokic's, I don't even know how much he had, but the overall of Denver is a lot better than the overall of the Lakers. And so this series is likely going to end tonight. I mean, the Nuggets are probably going to win, and that kind of closes the door. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not like it's never happened, but it's unlikely that the Nuggets would lose 4 out of the next 5 games. I just don't think it's a realistic thing. But so that's where we're at today. It's going to be interesting. one of the things I want to talk about today is today's bet. Today's bet I'm putting out here. We're going back to Major League Baseball. We're going to the best team in baseball. No reason to stay away from them. Today they're pitching Taj Bradley versus Taylor McGill for the Mets. You can play the Tampa Bay side here. I don't think the Tampa Bay side's a bad play at minus 120. But the better play is Tampa Bay over 4.5 runs, team total at minus 105. And that's because Taylor McGill has a 1.51 whip. In 40 innings, he has 39 hits and 22 walks. 39 hits and 22 walks in 40 innings. That means this dude puts people on base like crazy. And against a Tampa offense that scores 6.25 runs a game, there's probably going to be some runs in this one from the Tampa side. Taylor McGill, he's not a very good pitcher. He's an okay pitcher. As far as what I've seen, the eye test tells me that he probably should be a reliever. But I think he can go the distance. Like, he has a lot of stamina, so they keep him as a starter. He is 4-2, but that 4-2 with his stats is clearly because the bats showed up on those days. You just can't walk 22 guys in 40 innings. That's a walk every other inning. You can't do that. You can't be walking that many people. And when you're giving up 39 hits to go with it, and you only have 31 Ks, you're just not getting it done. He's also given up 5 homers, which isn't a ton in 40 innings, but it's still something. When the other guy has 15 innings, and he's in 15 innings, Bradley has struck out 23 people and only walked 2 in 15 innings and only gave up 12 hits. So from a one inning standpoint, Bradley's a far better pitcher. Now Bradley only has 15 innings in, but if you translate those numbers, I mean, you're sitting at a spot where Bradley's a lot better. Now, again, I'm not betting the game on this one. I'm not telling you not to. Minus 120 for Tampa is a good price for Tampa. The problem is I think that this should be going for a sweep. The Mets got kind of lucky yesterday and won a extra innings game. But I don't think the Mets win today. But I'm just going with the Tampa money line, or Tampa Bay team total over 4.5. It's minus 105, which is better than the minus 120 that you're seeing for the game. And also, so in the last 6 games, it's been 6 games since Tampa Bay has scored less than 5 runs. 6 games in a row they've scored at least 5 runs. And they've done this multiple times this year where they have long stretches where they score at least 5 runs. A 6-game stretch to score 5 runs is actually really hard to do in Major League Baseball, believe it or not. It's actually very difficult. It's actually unusual. And I'm going to go through here and I'm going to tell you how many times Tampa has had streaks like this. It's not unusual for them. Okay, so early in the season when they went on their crazy run, they had a 8-game streak where they scored at least 5 runs. I mean, and then they've had a 6-game streak now. So 14 games out of 42 or 44 that they've scored this. And there's more games that they've scored at least 5 runs. But I'm just telling you, these streaks for Tampa happens. It's unusual. So I'm just going to count up how many games that they've scored 5 runs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 20, 28 out of their 44 games they've scored at least 5 runs. Tampa is just a machine right now, and they're going to be a machine the rest of the year. What is going on, Dr. Don't Pass? Always working, yes. But anyways, betting Tampa's team total when it's over 4.5 and it's cheap, it's not an expensive price, is worth your time. They do it at roughly, what's that, roughly about 66% of the time or so right there. It's just a good play. And we're not going to miss it today at minus 105. I mean, that's almost even money. Tampa Bay team total over 4.5. Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if we see this before the fifth inning, or if we see them get to like 4 runs by the fifth inning. Would not shock me. I don't think they got to get to the relief pitching. I think McGill will give up plenty of base runners and plenty of hits and walks based on what he's done so far this season. I don't think it'll change against Tampa Bay's difficult to maneuver lineup. Now, Tampa Bay likely will sit a guy or two here and there, but they're so deep and they're so tough overall in their lineup. It doesn't make a lot of difference if they're not playing against like an ace or someone that can strike them out a lot. If you allow Tampa to hit the ball on you, they're going to score runs, and they've proven it all year. Tampa Bay is actually pretty significantly the best team in baseball statistically, and like pitching and hitting, overall they're significantly the best team in baseball. So, again, it's not a tough play. It's not a terrible play. Them to get 5 runs is pretty common. At 105, it's the price that makes it worth it here. You're basically getting a 1-to-1 bet. It's 5 a.m. here. Sorry, Googs. Yeah, it's hard to, I got people in New York City and people in Hawaii, so I got to kind of try to figure out spots where I can kind of get to everybody. But yeah, overall, it's an interesting spot. Another thing I want to talk about tonight's basketball game, and I talked to my people on Discord about this already. Nikola Jokic, however you say his name, is minus 120. He has negative juice for a triple-double, which is absolutely insane to me. I don't think there's another player in the NBA that has negative juice for triple-double. Now, Russell Westbrook, when he was averaging a triple-double, may have had negative juice for triple-doubles at times. But it's so crazy to me. Just the other day, his triple-double was plus 210. And then it was plus 140, then plus 110. Now it's minus 120. But you go to his assists, and for him to have 10.5 assists is minus 105. So it's just I understand that 10.5 is actually more than 10. You got to have 11. But it's just weird to me that a triple-double, which is very unusual besides just a couple players in the NBA, is a negative juice play. It's insane to me. You go look at LeBron's triple-double, and it's like plus 500, or something like that. You go look at Giannis's triple-double, it might be plus 350, But Jokic, you get minus 120. And it's probably not a terrible bet. It's probably not even a bad bet because likely he gets it, but still, you can't lay juice for a triple-double. Come on, man. It's like laying juice for home runs. If you were betting home runs and they were making you give up juice, no way. But anyways, I just thought that was a really weird thing I found in all the stuff I was looking at today, that he was negative juice. It kind of blew my mind. I thought I was going to see another plus 110, but I did not. It was minus 120. It's weird, very weird for me. Again, it's just a weird spot. I don't think the Lakers can win this series, but anyways, if Jokic just gets triple doubles after triple doubles every night, I mean, is he not already? So so this isn't a racist thing. I don't want people to think I'm racist, but in basketball, there's a clear definition between white and black players, right? Generally, the black players are better than the white players, and it's just whatever the case is. I guess black kids grow up playing basketball more than white kids. I don't know what the case is there, but just overall, generally, the black players are better than the white players, and Jokic, if you look back and you look at all the greatest, like if you're defining it this way, I guess this is somewhat weirdly racist, but if you're defining it as who's the best white player ever, my buddy brought this up to me, he goes, Jokic has a chance to be the best white player ever. And I didn't ever think about it in the way it is. It sounds way worse now that I'm talking about it. But he really does. I would venture to say Bird's the best white player ever. I would say that. Maybe Jerry West, since he is the logo. But Bird won 3 titles and 3 MVPs. Jokic has got 2 MVPs and no titles. But Jokic, he averages a triple double again. What the guy was saying is that if Jokic goes on a run where he wins a couple titles and sneaks another MVP in there, you could make the argument. And he's right. And like, it's a weird argument to be able to make, but it's true that it's a possibility. And I never thought about it in those terms. But Jokic has a chance to go down as one of the best centers ever as well, just centers. He's unique to the game, so no one else really does what he does. I do think more players will mimic it because that's kind of how sports works. People mimic the best players and then they kind of add their spot, add their spot, add their spot until you get guys like LeBron James that do everything. So, LeBron James wasn't the first guy that did everything, but he's probably the best at it. Magic Johnson was pretty awesome at doing everything. So, but anyways, let's get off that a little bit. That was worse than I thought it would be. It sounded way worse. It probably isn't to you guys, but it came off way worse than I thought because I'm definitely not in that realm. I don't delve into that stuff generally. But my friend had brought that up to me, and I was just like, oh wow, yeah, you're right. But anyways, what are you saying? Wow about Googs? But anyways, yeah, it's interesting. I really hate that I went there now. I'm because I'm not that, and I don't want to be labeled as that. But anyways, you guys never talk back to me really here. I do a craps video and I can get 2,000 chats, but I do a sports betting video or talk about sports video and I get nothing basically. Normally I can get just endless stream of chats when I do sport craps. We can talk about craps if you want. I'm not at my craps table, but we can definitely talk about it. I see a lot of these new videos coming out with the guys that have kind of picked up the torch and basically doing craps videos daily. Not AZ. AZ does them his own thing. AZ's awesome. Big AZ. If you never watch Big AZ, guys, you should probably check him out. He's kind of unique to the YouTube craps world. He's very player friendly, like viewer friendly. He lets you play and he deals it and stuff. It's really neat. AZ is really neat niche he's got there. He's probably the hardest working craps YouTuber by far. I would say he's just always on. It seems like he just does a lot with it. But it just some of the other guys that are putting out strategy videos and stuff. I watch that stuff and I'm just like, I probably did that a long time ago. And I'm not comparing it or whatever. But a lot of the stuff that comes out just rehashes the rehash. And people try to spin it in weird ways, like maybe they say, oh well, if you do this regression this way it's actually better or whatever. Likely it's not. I just some of that stuff, that's why I don't watch it as much anymore and I'm not involved as much anymore because believe it or not, guys, I feel like I've done all I can really do as far as teaching people in the craps world. Outside of directly teaching them specifically face to face, all my YouTube videos, if you watch my YouTube videos, I'm giving you the guidelines to be successful, and tons and tons of the videos rehash it. So at that point, there's no magic crap strategy, or there's no magic dice toss, guys. It's all about discipline and about being consistent. It's not about that other stuff. There's no magic way to beat the game. That's not true. It's actually way simpler than people want to make it out to be. You leave when you're winning. It's about that easy. And I get that some people drive hundreds of miles or even fly across oceans to gamble, and it's not that easy for them. But if you live close to a casino and you want to play craps, you should just go and win $100 and leave. I mean, there's not a lot of reason to keep playing at that point. I don't buy into the fact, oh, it like that it's my day thing or that kind of stuff where it's I don't think that luck is involved. And I know that sounds really weird in a game where you throw dice, but I don't think luck's involved at all. Um, I think it's just all about the variance of the game, and there's ups and there's downs. And when you're up, you take your money, and when you're down, you take your loss, and you just have more ups and downs based on your strategy. I don't really think there's luck involved in it at all. Now, I'm not saying that there's not instances that aren't lucky. I'm just saying that the game to win the game consistently isn't luck. And that's where I'm at on it. It's not. I don't get lucky when I win, guys. I don't think I get lucky when I win. It's all controlled specific to what I'm doing that creates wins. Now, if the variance goes against me, it also creates a loss. But I know when it goes against me, I can see it. Like if I have five bad come out rolls in the first seven come outs, if I have 3 points hit, in the first three shooters, I can see the direct path of why I lost. And I can also see the direct path of why I win because if I get the don't set and then boom, I get whatever play I'm playing after that out there, whether it's an iron cross, whether it's a cross betting or the 6 and 8 or whatever. And you know what? The math works out and I hit a few of those and I get my money out, hit the seven. And it's a direct path to winning. There's no luck involved. If you're going to call anything lucky, it's beating the come out, I guess, on a consistent basis. But I don't even think that's all that lucky. The come out only can beat you at 22% of the time. So that means that, the other 78% of your come outs are okay. I mean, so it's not a luck thing at that point. It would be unlucky if, I guess, if you had like this really weird run where there was 75% of come out losers would be unlucky, but still I don't believe in it that way. I don't look at honestly, I don't look at any kind of gambling as luck unless you're playing slots or roulette even or games like that where you put your money on one thing and just hope it happens. I don't feel like craps is like that. When I play craps, I put my money on everything. So, if I play the Iron Cross behind a don't, I have my money on everything except for one number. So it's no longer lucky if I win, if I hit a winner. I mean, best case scenario, I could have the five, which has four combinations, and then that's my four losers. Everything else is a winner. I could have the 6 and 8 placed with the field. That means every other number is a winner as long as I have it in the right ratio with my don't. So if I don't roll a five, every single other roll is a winner at that point with, using the 6, 7, 8 type styles, playing through the don't hybrid style. So is there luck involved when you have 32 of the combinations versus four? I don't think that's getting lucky, in my opinion. I don't know what you guys think about that. I'd love to hear your. Oh, holy crap! Hey, Patty. For some reason, my thing wasn't keeping up with. Oh wow, you got tables where you can make lay bets on the don't on a craps list. Wow, my chat wasn't coming up, which is weird. What the heck's going on there? Um, I had to read them all. Yeah, all what you guys said is very true. And who gave the money back? Patrick Stowe, you gave 200 of your 300 back. At least you left profitable. Two tables where you can lay the four. Can you lay the 12 or the two? Because if you can lay the 12 or the two, you can actually be positive EV on the craps table. That's why they don't let most places do it anymore. If you can lay the 12 or the two, you guys can do the math yourself. 12 over the 2 has one combination. It's a 6-1 or a 1-6 bet. So, for example, let's say you have to lay $1,200 on it to win 200. All right. If you put whatever denominations that 200 equals out over the rest of the table, 35 other combinations hit is going to be more than the 1,200. I've actually shown this on video before. Some guys went to North Carolina or South Carolina and smacked a casino pretty good with it, and most places that have crapsless will not let you lay. Most places. It's weird that you can. Now, laying the 4 through the 10 isn't unusual, even on a crapsless table, but if they let you lay the horn numbers, it's unusual. It's a very good casino if they will, because if you can lay that 2 or that 12, you've earned yourself the ability to play it at a different level and play a different way that other people can't play. Because if you're willing to lay that number and put that big risk out there, you're able to put so much. You have 35 of the combinations out of 36. That means that you essentially have a 2% chance to lose. I mean, it's so low that it's just so low. I mean, even if you did lose it and you could replace it, the overall of what you could do in a day on it is just it's so over the top. I've actually had a video where I rolled, and I think I rolled 100 and something times before I rolled a 12. And it was just a ton of times before I rolled the 12. And so you would have won on every one of those rolls at that point. Now yeah, okay. Yeah, that's fine. It's still this. That's just like the 6, 7, 8. You're just transferring risk. It's still a good play. I like it. It's like the anything but 10. But the anything but 10 is the 6, 7, 8. It's just transference of risk to a less likely number, which is a great way to play craps. No matter what anyone says, it's a good way to play craps, and I can prove it. So it's consistent. But yeah, if you can lay the 2 or the 12, man, that so many places won't let you do it because they lose their edge. The casino loses their edge, and that's what it is. If the casino still had an edge, they probably would let us do it everywhere, but they lose the edge when that happens. So again, you can't always find things that work for very long. Usually casinos pick right up on it, and they say, "Nuh-uh." Just like the electronic tables where the guys are cheating. Them are going to disappear, guys. Or what they're going to do maybe is they're probably going to create a different set of dice or something that the table registers or something, because you can't have a dealer entering the numbers. You can't, because there's always room for cheating then, as opposed to other types of cheating. You just can't have the dealer entering the numbers. And that was a big mistake they made, and they had to know that was going to go bad. But yeah, just them guys there's a couple group of guys took them for a lot of money in a couple different places around the country, and I would say that those electronic tables are either going to be changed heavily or are a thing of the past already. I actually thought casinos would go to that, because I actually thought that it would be more secure when I first was looking at them. But now that I've seen them played and the way they can be cheated, it just doesn't make sense to have them for them. Oh, you can lay all the numbers, huh? Well, man, laying that, I know you got to lay at least 600 to win 100 on the 2 or the 12, but man, it's a 1 out of 36 chance that you hit it. So the 7 alone, if you just laid that number, the 7 alone is 6 out of 36. How many 7s do you see before a 2 or a 12? I mean, man. And if you were just looking to make $200, you could pretty consistently win $200 before you lost. I don't know how many times you could probably do it, but you could probably do it a lot. I mean, just the overall craziness of only having one way to lose, one single dice combination as a loser. You could make so much if you're consistent and you weren't greedy. That's crazy. That's a great casino. I'm glad you are allowed to do that. I wish I could. None of the casinos around me will let me do it. None of them. I haven't found a single one that are anywhere near me that'll let me do it. Found one in Las Vegas, one single casino that would allow it. But the rest of them, nah. Now, I didn't go to all the casinos in Las Vegas either, but there was only one. Believe it or not, when I was in Vegas, there wasn't a ton of craps tables open. Most of it was just normal craps. And most places have the ATS or a version of it. I actually had a hard time finding the other bonus bets. The other types of bonus bets, I actually had a really hard time finding them. ATS was basically everywhere. So, which casino was it? Man, I'm trying to think of it for you guys. I'm drawing a blank, but I remember there was only one, and we played crapsless on it. Okay, Patrick, I'm gonna ask you some questions really quick. I'm sure you've watched some of my videos, but on when you're trying to manipulate the seven, this is my question with dice controllers and people that are really interested in dice control. Why do you attack the seven? The seven is the hardest number to beat. That doesn't make any sense to me. So the 7 has 16.5% chance it'll roll on every single roll. So why would you try to manipulate the 7 versus another number when you don't have to play against the 7? You can play against any number you want. So wouldn't it be a lot easier to try to manipulate the 4 or the 10? And I've actually proven this on video, that it's way easier to manipulate the 4 or the 10 than it is to manipulate the 7. Personally, in my opinion, I don't think you can manipulate the 7. I think the 7 still comes at 16% no matter what dice control people use. What I do think they change is the groupings of numbers they get. I think that they can possibly get lower numbers more often or higher numbers more often. I just don't understand why, as a dice controller, why you'd want to try to beat the 7 as opposed to you could beat the other numbers. And that's just my opinion on it. And what I've experienced throughout playing craps a lot is, out of all the people that I've seen that are really good at dice control, in my opinion, that actually can throw the dice really well and it appears like they're doing something, they still don't beat the 7 as the overall percentage. And as far as you mentioned house edge in there, I could care less about the house edge. The house edge matters nothing to individual players. And I know people argue that with me, but it doesn't. It matters absolutely zero to an individual player. The house edge is just a simple calculation where the casino knows that per bet what they can expect over the lifetime of the bet. That's all it is. It's not something that players should dictate their betting off of, because in the short sample size, even a player that plays daily will only have, let's say, 200,000 rolls, probably lifetime, that they'll see 200,000 rolls probably lifetime. That's still a tiny sample size, and you may be able to see the house edge in that, but probably not. I mean, overall, you'll see some spikes, but I just don't think house edge matters for players. And I've argued this a bunch, and I feel like I can prove it. And I just, the house edge is for the casino. It's just how they know how much they're going to make or what they should expect to make. It's not exactly, obviously, the dice can go a different direction. So, but no, I'm not a house edge guy. I don't believe in it as far as a way to dictate your betting. I actually think I actually think the opposite of it. If you're dictating what you're betting off of house edge, you're actually putting yourself at a disadvantage. Personally, the only thing I think you should dictate your betting off of is probability. You should have the advantage in probability at all times. If you're not more likely to win than roll or lose, on every single roll, if you are more likely to win than you are to lose, you're going to win more than you lose. There's no way around that. Now, the values of the loss can outweigh the wins, and thus, but I'm just talking about from a hit to non-hit basis. All right. So if you have 20 combinations versus 5, you should expect to win 80%. You know, 80% of your rolls you should expect to win. Or that's a bad example because I didn't use the full grouping. Okay, but so because that would be just 25 combinations. So let's say you have out of 36 combinations that you own 32 of them. That would mean that you're like laying the 5 or laying the 9 and you're betting everything else, or you have a don't 5 or you don't 9 and you're betting everything else. All right. At that point, every single roll in them 32 combinations is a winner. The only losers are the 4 combinations. So that's you're going to be more probable. The probability is where it's at, in my opinion. It has nothing to do with house edge. I feel like if you're using house edge, you're just doing what the casino wants. I understand what all that SRR, 7 rolled ratio, and all that and everything, and 7 to 8 of it. But what I'm getting at is you're fighting the hardest number to fight on the table for one extra roll, for one more roll, when you could just play and move that risk and be able to, let's say you taught yourself how to miss the 5. Now you can move your risk to the 5 and you can roll all the 7s you want. Like that's what I'm getting at is that dice control, the way it's taught and the way it's preached out there, doesn't make a lot of sense to me. It doesn't make sense in the way the game works. That's my thing on it is, why are you attacking the 7? It doesn't make a lot. Hey, what's up, buddy? Larry Holloway. Everybody say hi to Larry. Larry, I hope you are okay, man. I know some crazy stuff went on over there uh, in Myanmar and all that with some hurricanes or whatever they call them over there, man. I hope you're all right. I hope everything's all right over there. But anyways, back to this, and that's my thing is I just don't I don't think it's worth your time to try to avoid the 7. It doesn't make sense to me to try to beat the 7. That's what I'm getting at. If you can do it, hey, more power to you. You're great. I can't do it, but I don't think it's necessary. And that's just my question for the dice control people is that it's not that whether you can or you can't do it. I hope you can if you're practicing it. But why? Why are you doing it? It doesn't to me it doesn't make sense to fight the toughest fight when you can fight a much less tough fight with another number. So that's just my opinion on that's what my from my experience of it. I used to think I could beat the 7-2 at one time. I used to practice dice control at least 1,000 rolls a day. I mean, I was on it. I was really trying to press it, and I had convinced myself that I could beat it. And I had some good runs at the casino, but nothing compared to what I do now as opposed to then. It is just way better now. So again, it's one of those deals where it's kind of a thing that's kind of been hammered into the craps world is that dice control and beating the 7. But I just think it's not the way to go. That's my opinion on that. I don't think you're wrong. If you can roll that well, great. Hey, do your thing. I don't think anyone's wrong if they're winning. Why would I knock you winning? That doesn't make any sense. I want everybody to win. I don't want anyone to lose. I hope everyone goes and has great days at the casino and wins money. See, that's awesome. Like, see, I feel like you're doing it there, but I don't know. it feels like you've made an adjustment there that makes sense to me. But fighting the 7 doesn't make any sense to me. My buddy 555 Craps, I know he doesn't do much anymore, if anything. He always talked about it as like Andre the Giant, the biggest, baddest guy out there, and you're fighting Andre the Giant. It just didn't make a lot of sense. But anyways, guys, I got to get going. I'm cleaning up this porch that I knocked off my house. It's a lot of work, and I'm all by myself because that's how I normally do things. So, anyways, guys, thank you for your time. You guys have a great day. And remember, today we're going Tampa Bay team total over 4.5. I got it at -105. Hopefully, you guys get it somewhere even better than that. That'd be awesome. But that's what we're doing today. Tampa team total over 4.5. You guys have a great day.